Welcome to Catherine the Paint. Welcome to the much requested full tutorial for the bloom technique. My first advice is to gather all the stuff you're going to need. Because it's going to come from different places. So, here are the stuff that I use. So, for the pillow paint, I use the Sherwin Williams Captivate Paint and Primer in 1 Interior Latex Extra White Semi-Gloss. And I get this, I'm sorry guys, I get this from directly from the Sherwin Williams store. We have one here in town, so that's where I get mine. So there it is. You can screenshot it and then take a picture to the place and show them. That's what I did. So, okay, the next thing you will need is for your pouring medium. So it's these two things right here. It's the Minwax water-based polycrylic clear semi-gloss. This is what I use. And this Sherwin Williams interior exterior high gloss ultra deep base. That is the most important thing right there. Not the deep base. That doesn't work because I tried it. So I spent money on it and now I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm sure I can do something with it in the future. But anyway, so you want the ultra deep base, and that I got at Lowe's. All along with the polycrylic. I got that at Lowe's also. So, also, you're going to need floetrol. I usually actually get that at Home Depot because our Lowe's, for some reason, never has it. So, for the topper or the cell activator, you're going to use the floetrol. I also put floetrol in the base paint. So, I will show you that. Not a lot, just enough to like loosen it up. Alright, and then you're going to need, for the topper, cell activator, you're going to need Amsterdam white, the titanium white. So let's see, right there, titanium white, Amsterdam. That stuff works like magic. I ordered mine off of Amazon. So, also the Minwax pre-stained wood conditioner. You can use this or not. It just helps get a little more cells, a little more lacing for me, I have found, because I've used it without it. And I got some good lacing, but I got really good lacing with the, just like 4 or 5 drops of that in my topper. So, I got that at Lowe's also. So, all right, now you're going to need paint, and you can use any kind of paint. You can use craft paint. I use craft paint. At first, when I first started this, I thought I had to use high-end paint, and so that's what I was doing, and got kind of a snob about it. And then I used some of the craft paints, and it worked great, and then that opened up a whole new world. So you can use apple barrel, you can use the folk art metallics and the color shifts that they have. You can also use tube paint. Any kind, any brand, any color. And also you can use the powdered paints. So sometimes I use these. I like to mix 1 or 2 primary elements usually just 1, but just to give it some bling. Or you can use the craft paint with the metallics, or the shift, color shift, and different stuff. So it adds to your overall effects to mix it up. But the key to this technique is consistency. So when you use a thinner paint, you're going to use more of your pouring medium because it is really thick. This is thick. This is thin, but when you mix them together, they make a really nice kind of thick consistency that you can thicken these up with. So, but I will show you all that. So these are the ingredients that you will need to, or it's what I use for my technique for my bloom. All right, guys. So I'm going to pause this and get over to where we're going to paint. I'll be right back. Okay, so we are going to get our house paints. I like to keep some in a smaller container so it's easier to deal with. So I have this ladle that's just for this. That's all I do with it. So I just keep reusing this Soho cup over and over and over. Just fill it up, use it, and refill it. All right, so you're not going to completely fill it up because you want to add floetrol to it. We're not adding a whole lot of floetrol, just some. So, there we go. So I keep floetrol in this cup. I strain it into this cup and then use it whenever I need it. So you're going to add about 2 tablespoons and then stir it up real good and see if it needs more. So you can tell as it's mixing in that the paint is changing a little bit because it's like, it has to be incorporated into there. So you're wanting it to not be this kind of gummy texture that house paint is. So you're just wanting enough floetrol to change that. So about 3 tablespoons for a Soho cup full of house paint. And there we go. So just mix it up until it's fully incorporated. And that, of course, is going to put air in it, so you're going to have more bubbles if you do it right before you use it. So usually I just mix it up and wait a while, and then I use it for several days till I have to fill it up again. All right, there we go. That's the consistency I'm looking for. I want it to be a little bit thicker than what my other paint's going to be so that it kind of sits on top, but not so thick that it doesn't want to come off the canvas. So that's step 1. Okay, so for my pouring medium, I use 2:1, 2 parts of the interior exterior high gloss ultra deep base paint. That was from Lowe's. So I use 2 to 1. So I would put 2 tablespoons of this to 1 of the polycrylic. That is 1. That is 2. It doesn't actually have to be exact, but this is the thick stuff, and so you're going to want to have it pretty thick. So 2 to 1 has the thickness that I think is best for me. And this is this recipe is good for the United States. I don't know what you can get if you're in another country, so I have no clue. This is just, that's my disclaimer. This is just for the US. All right, so 2 to 1. Here, just mix it up, and I'll show you how thick it is. It's pretty thick. Very thick. So it is perfect for thickening your craft paints, and then you don't have to add like floetrol. You might add just a tiny bit of floetrol, whereas I will show you when we're mixing the paints how you have to use more floetrol with tube paint because this is really thick, or you can use a little extra polycrylic also. So anyway, okay, there it is. That's how you mix it. It's easy. All right, so here's the craft paint. I'm just going to pour, it's Apple Barrel Aquamarine. I'm going to pour some of this in a cup. All right, so this is looser than, it's runnier than the tube paint. So we are going to put in half of a tablespoon of the pouring medium, our paint medium. And that actually made it a very good consistency. So that thickened it up a bit. So it's a very good consistency. You don't have to add anything else to this particular paint because it's already thinner. You're adding the medium to make it a little bit thicker. So when you add the floetrol to make it a little thinner on the tube paint. So it's pretty easy. Just want them all the same consistency. I'm going to show you how to mix in a powdered pigment. This is Primary Elements, and it is the pink anthurium. So you just take the powder, put it in your container. Try not to waste it like I just did. Okay, so for about this much powder, you're going to use about a half a tablespoon of the pouring medium after you have dissolved it with your polycrylic. So just put enough in here, which probably about a teaspoon. No, that's like a teaspoon and a half. No, okay. Put about a teaspoon of that in there. Now dissolve it. You have to do this before you put the pouring medium in because otherwise the powder won't dissolve and you'll have you might have a grainy look, which would really ruin the dried effects. So scrape your stick, make sure you get it off of there. All right, I don't see any more grains. It's not grainy, so it's looking good. So take your tablespoon and just do a half a tablespoon of the pouring medium that you already mixed together. And to clean those, the tablespoons or the measuring stuff, I just use a baby wipe and it wipes right off. Love to have the baby wipes around. All right, that is looking very, very pretty. All right, now you're going to test the consistency, and if it is too thick, then you will thin it out a bit. If it's not thick enough, you can add a little more pouring medium. Oh, it's perfect. So you want it running off the stick, but you want it to make a mound. So there we go. That was perfect. All right, now we will mix our other stuff. Okay, we're going to mix up some turquoise blue of the Liquitex Basics. So put some in your cup. Take your half a tablespoon of pouring medium. Just mix it up. Okay, now you can see that this is still too thick to use. So if you compare these two, this one is it's still thick, but it like forms a mound, it still flows really good. This one does not. So, and they each have the half a tablespoon of your paint medium, the pouring medium. This is too thick. So what we do is we add floetrol. So I am going to put in a half a tablespoon of floetrol. And then I'm going to test it again to see how the consistency is. Still a little bit thick. So now I'm going to put in just a few drops at a time, water. Make sure it's mixed in good and see what the consistency is. That is looking really good. Still thick, but it flows nicely and it leaves a mound. Actually, I think one more drop. 2 more drops. Okay. Oh yeah, perfect. So you can see these side by side. They're both flowing pretty good. It's about the same. Yay. Okay, so well, let's make the topper. Okay, so to mix the topper, I take my floetrol and I get a tablespoon of that. And a half a teaspoon of the Amsterdam acrylic titanium white. And you can get these measuring spoons just at like Dollar Tree or Dollar Store for $1. Do not use the ones you use on your food. And I just wipe them down with a baby wipe. So keeps them clean. All right, then you mix that in really good. Make sure you're scraping off the stick and scraping off the sides. You want it to get really incorporated. And then I add it was about 5 drops of water. Mix that in really good. Okay, and now I'm going to put in about 4 or 5 drops of your Minwax pre-stain wood conditioner. One more. There we go. Sorry. The stuff stinks though. You got to get it closed back up pretty quickly. All right, now just mix that in, and that's all there is to it. All right, so we have mixed. I've showed you what I do with the house paint, the medium. Now that here's the topper. So there we go. Let's go ahead and paint the tile real quick to show you the process. Okay, so we're going to use our colors and do a tile now. I went ahead and added another color, the Dioxozine purple of the Liquitex Basics. We have the turquoise blue from Liquitex Basics and the primary elements, the sweet thistle, and then the Aquamarine from the apple barrel. So that sums that up. Y'all saw me make all of these 3, and I'd already made this one. Usually when I use a primary element, I like to use a color that is very similar to it, of a Liquitex Basics or an Arteza or something like that, because I don't know, otherwise it just kind of gets lost. So I usually put 2 purples, or like if I had the daffodil yellow, I would usually use something like the yellow. So, I don't know, it just makes them show up better. All right, so let's get going. And I cover my paint in my floetrol cups with press and seal, and just reuse the same piece over and over for a long time. So, ugh, forgot my gloves. I'm gonna grab gloves. I will be right back. Okay. I really find this technique to be very messy, so I am going to start with the Dioxozine purple. That I'm going to use whatever this is called. It's the primary elements. What is it? Sweet thistle. I was like, milk thistle. No, that's not it. Okay. This will call it, you do not have to use any of these powders if you do not want to. It just adds a shimmer and a sheen to it. It just blinks it out a little bit. All right, now I'm going to put the turquoise down. And instead, you could always use the folk art metallics and stuff like that, which is a lot more affordable. And really adds a lot of bling too. So, all right, now the apple barrel, Aquamarine. All right, so we have 2 purples and 2 blues or bluish greens. I'm gonna put the topper on here. Going to blow it out. So when I blow it out, I'm going to blow down first and then out and then towards each corner. See, just barely blow. There's the first blow. Oh, well, kind of the second, because I don't usually stop in between. I was just showing you guys. There's the second corner. And so what you're trying to do is blow the white out over the other colors. So a lot of cell action going on there, lots of lacing. You can see that. All right. So now it is imperative that you put it down and wait. So you are waiting for the paint to come back up, because when you blow it, it pushes down toward the tile. And now everything's got to level back up. Or when you move it, the part that's blown down will not move. And so all that lacing will just kind of fold in on itself. Believe me, I've made that mistake before. All right, while you're sitting here, you can look for bubbles and go ahead and pop them if you see any you would like to get rid of. Sometimes it doesn't bother me. Like that one popped, and I think that purple looks good there, but see, this one kind of irritates me. Just a little, I'm not sure if y'all can see it on the camera, but anyway, just look at your thing and see if there's any bubbles that popped or need popping. You can always stick your little palette knife in there and pop it, and usually get rid of any evidence that it was there. Okay, it's almost risen up. It has a little bit right here that needs to still rise up. It needs to rise up. Okay. Excuse me. Still have this crazy cough. All right, so I'm going to start by going this way. I'm going to use my spatula to get a little bit of this paint and just put it right there. It doesn't matter that it has a little bit of color on it because you're just tilting it off anyway. It's to help it flow easier. So that pulls it right off of there. All right. See how that's looking? All right, now let's go this way. After you've tilted a direction, run your fingers along the edge, and that helps it not pull all the paint off. All right. All right, now I'm going to shift my paint back to the middle, and then I'll go one of the other directions. So the weight of the paint is where the middle of your puddle was before. So you're going to want to keep moving that back to the middle every time. So, all right, guess we'll go that way this time. Excuse me, guys. Cannot get rid of this cough. I've even taken cough suppressant, which I really hate to take, but I also don't like hacking at everyone's face all the time. All right. Running my finger to stop the pulling of the paint, and now shifting back toward the middle. We have one more corner. All right. I'm gonna use that to just pull it off. Not worried about that it has color on it because I'm gonna drain it right back off anyway. All right. Oh, and do not drop it. All right, now we need to shift it one more time back to the middle. And there you have it, guys. There it is. Lots and lots of lacing. Lots of lacing. I think that turned out really pretty. I'm loving those colors. So it has a lot of these freckles. If they bother you, you can mess with it. So kind of put your knife in there and it just lifts it off. So there it's gone. On the bigger ones, you have to lift a couple times. And actually, they don't bother me that much. Certain ones do, but certain ones don't. So, I think I'm going to leave these. But this one, don't like that one. Okay, so let me bring you in for a close-up so you can see what we made. All right, guys, here it is. There's the lower right, the upper right, upper left, lower left. Lots and lots of lacing. And it will dry pretty much just like you see it. So unless you have an unlevel surface, in which case it might slide. So just make sure that you put it somewhere safe. And there we go. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging with me. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button and comment. And as always, be inspired.